Hello, all. Welcome back to my fragrance journey. My name is Ron, and today I have got my most complimented fragrances. I thought I'd just do a quick little video. I'm still kind of compiling and working on my end of the year 2025 video. So, in the meantime, I thought I'd just do this little one that I had thought of the other day. And so, yeah, just gonna go ahead and share the fragrances that have been historically my most complimented. I don't, keep a running tally, but as far as I remember, these are the ones that people seem to have a response for the most. So let's go ahead and get on into it. All right, so first up we have Turquatic by MAC. Yes, that is MAC Cosmetics. If you didn't know, they do fragrances from time to time. They always seemingly have Turquatic, but they have they have brought and taken away others throughout the years, but Turquatic remains, and with good reason, I think, because this is a really special fragrance. I have been wearing this for a number of years. I have gone through several bottles, and at one point, this, amongst a few others, was really kind of my like signature scent rotation. This was one of them. I don't wear it as much these days just because, I've got so much now in my collection, but oh, how I love it. So this launched, last I looked, I think it said 2011, which I always find shocking. I feel like this has been around so much longer than that. But yeah, apparently 2011. And as the name, Turquatic, and the bottle, this little ombre blue-green moment, which I think is very pretty, as those would suggest, this is an aquatic, oceanic type of fragrance. That's the theming for it, and that's kind of what the scent gives itself. Now, they list on MAC, I'm looking right now, they list keynotes of anemone, lotus, orris, cottonwood, mineral water, and Corsican blue cedar. I think Fragrantica also lists lemon of some sort. I think it's like Amalfi lemon. I definitely do get a lemon note in the beginning. I do get that kind of, yeah, bright citrus moment. It's maybe slightly sweet citrus, and then quickly comes everything else. And this is a situation where I really wouldn't know all the many details of what I'm smelling. It kind of just all blends together, but it's just something, again, kind of like the bottle, very blue green, definitely aquatic, definitely a little floral. It actually isn't worlds and worlds apart from something like Green Tea by Elizabeth Arden. Definitely they're not the same. I wouldn't say that having both in my collection feels redundant. They're definitely not like dupes or anything, but in the way that just like green tea, I also get a burst of a lemon citrus moment, and then I go into a very calming, chill, refreshing vibe with that. Same thing here. This goes again more like aquatic, oceanic, and then green tea, of course, is a tea scent. So it's the kind of thing where if you like that one, I can imagine that you would like this. And this is just great. This is just all I want to smell on a hot day. Or smell of on a hot day, especially maybe you've been out, you've gotten a little sweaty perhaps, and you just want to feel a little fresher before you can get to your, shower. This is a great thing for it. Just so, so good. And yes, a big compliment getter. I've had many people stop and ask what I'm wearing. And yeah, it's Turquatic by MAC. So next up, we have Nirvana Amethyst by Elizabeth and James. I'll just say right off the bat, this is a discontinued fragrance. It's a defunct brand. Elizabeth and James was started by Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, and they did like clothing and I think other accessories and things, and then of course fragrance. And sadly, it no longer exists. I didn't try any of the other things, any of their other offerings, but the fragrances, I have had a few of them, and they've all been, with one exception, I think it's called French Grey. Did not enjoy that one at all. But black, Nirvana black, white, this one amethyst, and I think it was either the bourbon one or the rose one. I also liked that one. Particularly, I really enjoyed black. That was honestly my favorite. Although it has been so long since I've had a bottle, I really couldn't even tell you what it smells like anymore. I'd have to smell a new one, which is probably not going to be happening anytime soon because not only is it a discontinued line, bottles are hard to find, especially full, and very expensive, especially for black. The others, though, have all crept up over the years too, including Amethyst. I got this one, I think, in like 2019. So honestly, just I think it was like just as Elizabeth and James was kind of shuttering, and I got this on, I think, Fragrance Net. But oh boy, is it so good. So anyway, enough rambling about the brand and their other things. What is this one? So this is a what do they say? Tobacco, honeysuckle, cedar, and spices fragrance. I definitely get the cedar. That is the most prominent note. It is very much a woody, wood shaving sort of cedar. In fact, I used to wear this a lot back when I worked in the office. Now I'm a work from home bitch. But when I wasn't, when I used to go into an office and see humans, I would wear this often. And I remember one time I had a coworker who was like two desks down or so, and he's like, is somebody wearing something? He's like, I'm getting like a school vibe. And we were like, school? What do you mean school? He's like, yeah, like pencil, like somebody sharpening pencils. And at first we were all kind of like, yeah, okay, you're off your rocker, friend. And then, of course, I thought about it a little later, and I think, oh, I think he was talking about me. I think it's the woodiness in this fragrance, the cedar. And yeah, definitely must have been me. And I can see it. It definitely is that sort of sharpened pencils kind of woodiness, which could be off-putting for some people. I think it's really gorgeous, especially because it's paired with the tobacco. And tobacco is something that, funnily enough, like even last year, I did a post on Instagram talking about things that I like to avoid in fragrance, notes that I kind of, are red flag. I think that was actually the post, was like red flag, green flag notes, things that were, either complete no's or would be like a hesitance for me, and things that would signal that, oh, I should try this out. And I put tobacco as a red flag because I think that I just had maybe experienced the wrong tobacco fragrances, because over this last year in trying some others, I've really found that I actually quite enjoy tobacco, and also realized that it was already in some fragrances I loved, like this one. And what the tobacco does is it adds a real like earthy, warm sweetness to this. And I think that's what helps curb the cedar, and in my case, keeps it from being too much. Clearly, for some people, it still gives a bit of, I don't know, schoolroom flashback. But for me, I just think this is lovely and woody and warm and sweet and super just gorgeous, and definitely a compliment getter. Aside from maybe that one uh, comment, I've had many compliments on this. Many people ask what I am wearing, curious to get their own. Of course, it sucks because every time I have to be like, well, it's discontinued. But yeah, this is a really nice one. And so this is Nirvana Amethyst by Elizabeth and James. And now I'm going to insert one that I kind of consider an honorable mention, only for the fact that I don't currently own a bottle, but I have had several in the past. And this is Black Tulip by Nest. This is a fragrance that launched in 2016. It has notes of plum, patchouli, violet, pink pepper, and black cherry. This was another like office go-to for me. This, and honestly, this and Amethyst were the two that I would often wear to the office back when I used to, see humans. And this is one that, yes, got me many compliments, and even more maybe than Amethyst, this was one that people wanted to know the name, wanted to know where they could get it. And so yeah, it's a very popular one. It's kind of like the packaging, and if you end up looking it up and looking at the box, kind of like the box too. It's very dark, reddy, like purpley sort of vibe. It's got this fruity, plummy, jammy sort of note. Not terribly sweet though, just kind of deeper, like naturally sweetened fruits, not sugar, right? But a deeper fruit vibe with the florals and that bit of patchouli that isn't like, the quote unquote dirty patchouli that everybody seems to run for the hills from. I personally like it just fine, but this is definitely a more modern sort of, I guess, cleaner patchouli. God, I hate that term. But yeah, it's just a softer one. And it all together is just really gorgeous. I've smelled a lot of other things from Nest, and I've always thought that they're nice, but this is the only one that really grabbed me the way that it did. And yeah, seems to do that for others. So I don't have a current bottle, like I said. I keep meaning to get another one. It's just one of those ones that isn't often on like a great offer. Not that I think it's overpriced, but a lot of times it's just a little bit more than I want to spend. It's like, I think it's like $80 for like a bottle, like a 50 mil. So it's not terrible, but I just end up getting swept away with other purchases before I circle back to this one. The newness often gets me. So anyway, I don't have it currently, but I do very much plan to get this back into my collection maybe this year because it is a really good one. And yeah, very, very complimented. So that is Black Tulip by Nest. Now we come to my most complimented, far and away my most complimented fragrance. And this is Paris Hilton for Men by Paris Hilton. Now, little soapbox, as always, I don't believe that fragrance is gendered. I think that's a load of hogwash. And I think that while we get marketed fragrances to certain genders, that is just marketing. So you can wear, as I do, what you want when you want. And I would encourage you to do so. This is like this fragrance, I would want women and anybody else to pick this up and try it because I think it's a really good fragrance. So this launched in 2005, and I was thinking about it. I actually think I started wearing this somewhere like late 2006, early 2007, and I know because it coincided with a job that I started at. And this for a long time was my like the signature fragrance. Like I sometimes had a couple others on rotation, but this was the fragrance that I wore down. I wore bottles of this stuff, and this was like I was seemingly the only one wearing it often, and this everybody knew this was like Ron's scent. Now granted, I also sprayed a whole hell of a lot of it back in the day. I think about that now, and especially I had gone without a bottle for a couple years when I started expanding my collection, expanding my horizons. I hadn't had a bottle in a little while. I'd gotten honestly a little burnt out, I think. And so I circled back last year because I did just want it, and I did want to smell it again, and I love having it back in my collection, and I do enjoy it anytime I wear it, but I wear a lot less. I'm wearing maybe at most 8 sprays of this because I find it very strong. I mean, granted, I don't think I wear many fragrances over 8 sprays. I always think that I'm overspraying things, but honestly, that's something I've learned in this last year, really delving into the fragrance community. I don't overspray. Not very often of many things. I think I am, but apparently I am. I'm just drops in the bucket comparatively. Anyway, so these days, yes, definitely like an 8 spray max. Back in the day, though, I think it was easily 16-20, which is absolutely unimaginable to me now. I cannot fathom that because it's quite strong. Anyway, what does it smell like? So it has notes of mango, cucumber, fig leaf, musk, sage, juniper, mountain air, cedar, basil, and amber. I would say this is as close as I'm ever going to get to a fougere. I've tried many times. I want to love them. I want to enjoy them the way everybody else does. It's just one of those scents or those profiles that doesn't work for me. And this isn't a fougere, thus it works, but it kind of tiptoes next to it. There is a lot of aromaticness going on with it, and there's a lot of elements in this that I find are included in a lot of fougères. There's that, like that mountain air, they're not kidding. There's like a crisp breeziness to this. There's like the juniper, the sage, there's this kind of aromatic herbal greenness in this. But what really offsets everything and somehow works brilliantly, even though I think it kind of seems a little off for it, not off in the actual scent, but just, when you actually look at the notes, it seems like an odd thing to include. There's that mango and cucumber, and they do a lot of heavy lifting, and they're actually quite lasting in this fragrance. And there's just a sweetness from the mango. There's a tropical fruitiness from this mango. And then the cucumber adds a lot of like a, you know, green, vegetal, aquatic freshness. And somehow those two elements completely change everything. I think if they weren't here, this would read more like a traditional fougere. But this really pulls it back and makes it something that is sweeter, juicier, more tropical, and then kind of mixed with that crisp, fresh air. So it's really got a fresh vibe overall. And then you've got these kind of herbal, aromatic, deeper notes that kind of show up more, of course, as it dries down. And it's just really, really beautiful. And it's one of those fragrances that I think is so surprising. You know, you think a celebrity fragrance, you think Paris Hilton. And I think many people, I know actually, because I've again been complimented many times and many people have asked what it is. And this is Paris Hilton for Men, asterisk, not really, by Paris Hilton. So that is it. That is all my most complimented fragrances. You know, a lot of the other ones I would say, well, especially since I've gone work from home and stayed work from home, you know, there isn't a lot of opportunity for other things to get complimented. So I should also acknowledge that a lot of these, again, stem from when I was out and about in the world much, much more than I am now. These days, I'm rather something like a hermit. I get out of bed and, you know, do my normal routines and stuff, and then I just, you know, sit at my computer that's like so many feet from my bed and work. And then I don't really go many other places. Occasionally out to, you know, a store or a movie or something. But even then, I get my groceries delivered, you know, all the modern conveniences because I can't be bothered. So I get my groceries delivered, I get everything delivered, Amazon, all that. So I rarely leave my dwelling. So aside from my best friend and roommate, I don't get in, you know, interaction with a lot of other folks. So, you know, so we should acknowledge that the things, yeah, that are being complimented, maybe it's also because they just had the most opportunity to have that happen. But anyway, be that as it may, these are the most complimented thus far, and I think they're all stunners, outstanding, and I would love to know down below, what are your most complimented fragrances? What are the things that people take notice of and seem to like in your own collection? And also, of course, if you've tried any of these, let me know that. As always, I really love chatting with you all down below, so please always feel free to compliment anything and everything. And also the YouTube things. If you liked my video, I would love it if you would subscribe, the thumbs up, all the bits and bobs. Feel free to do that if you'd like. And anyway, I thank you so much for joining me here on my fragrance journey. I hope you're all having a great rest of your day, a good new year. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.